Ready? Play.
So I'm here live for the last few points. I'll bring Damien forward in a second when he's finished watching because he'll be a point or two ahead. So I would like to just enjoy what we have here at 4-2. Fritz leading. We're in the middle of a pretty lengthy rally. We've had quite a few of those. And Zverev goes long line, as they say in German, 4-3. So it's down the line to you and I, English speakers, clipping the line. It's been the backhand down the line in this third set that's been so effective for the German. And Fritz has been holding on to his serve. Nice to see we've got somebody already in the live chat here for this rather... yes, thank you, exactly. Indeed, we won't be far away, or we're not far away. Thank you, and do check out Anshuman's channel. Follow the United Road, I believe it is. Return into the net from Zverev, and it's 5-3 Fritz, under a little bit of pressure right there, and had that advantage. Had 4-1 at one stage before Zverev winning back-to-back points, but it's now 5-3 Fritz, so he's 2 points away from a place in the final. As I said, he's been hanging on to his serve for large parts of this set. There was a stat, the number of points that he's had to play on serve compared to Zverev this set, who's been largely comfortable. I think Zverev maybe saved one break point at the beginning of this set. Anyway, second serve here for Taylor. Forehand return. It's not deep enough from Zverev. They're at neutral, though, here in the rally. But it's Zverev who errs. And that point was a bit of a nervy one. Could have done a lot better on the return. It wasn't the best serve in the world from Taylor. It was a second serve. And we've got 3 match points here for a place in the finals in Turin for Taylor Fritz. It'll be his first final. I think he made the semis in 2022 when he lost to Djokovic. Anyway, 3 match points here, but the first 2 will be on Zverev's serve. So not done yet. Zverev, though, first serve into the net. We know how prolific he can be on that first serve. So this is an advantage for Fritz here at least. Can he take advantage, though, of this second serve? Forehand return. Decent depth on it. Has Zverev scrambling. And it's a forehand winner cross court from Taylor Fritz. Wow. Match of the tournament so far. Damien, if you're ready, you can come forward at any stage. Match of the tournament so far, but that's probably because there hasn't been a huge amount of competition for that title. Well, that was more exciting than I thought it might be.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm struggling to call it the match of the tournament. Like, it was just so boring. Oh, they played the same game. They played the same game. Zverev just gets beaten at his own game recently against Fritz. You know, Taylor is like so untempted by anything. He just literally stacks with it, and you know he can just trade with Zverev for hours, and he's never gonna try to do anything, and that makes Zverev so uncomfortable. And of course, you know, good on Taylor for kind of following it, right? I mean, 4 matches in a row.
Yeah, 4 in a row. Of course, this now will be 7-5, this head-to-head. I still think that it's a bit perplexing, though. I think that somebody playing Zverev at his own game and who's not probably as good as Zverev in many respects should lose to Zverev.
Well, not really. I mean, usually when you have a guy who is serving as well as Fritz is and as well as Zverev is, then you probably won't get the same sort of baseline consistency. I mean, we're talking about Medvedev, Zverev, maybe Hurkacz sometimes, apparently Fritz as well. But like most of the time, the bigger hitters, the guys who can really match Zverev on serve, are the ones that he's going to be outgrinding, are the ones that he'll have a chance to like coax into errors and everything. Whereas, yeah, I mean, Fritz is just like so safe with his game to a point where it actually forces Zverev to do something. And that's not his favorite part of tennis, right? I mean, he's definitely just far more comfortable playing his own sleep-inducing game and basically forcing the opponents to. to kind of get into that, either just get lulled into that, or I don't know, just come up with great shots to beat him off the ground. And Taylor doesn't try anything. Like Taylor is literally just like trading with him, and he's fine in it. And this is so confusing to Zverev. Apparently, he should be trying something like against Sinner or Alcaraz, just being more aggressive. But I think for Zverev, as you said, like someone who is not really as good as him on paper, I don't think he really thinks of Fritz that way. I think he still thinks of Fritz as some sort of his inferior, and he just keeps trying to play the same thing against him. And yeah, 4 times in a row, it has not worked. Of course, Wimbledon, there was that excuse about the what was it,
injury.
the knee,
Yeah, I
or
think so.
it was
Yeah,
the
knee.
knee when he slipped against Nori. So Wimbledon, let's kind of like put it away. But since then, 3 more matches. Okay, Laver Cup, you can keep going with the pneumonia. Every single time you're gonna find some excuse, but this is like a huge body of work now.
Absolutely, yeah. What was a bit effective for Zverev in the third set, who, by the way, was the better player throughout that third set. It was constantly Taylor Fritz
I
under
think you're
pressure.
overreacting there a little, because at 3-4, Taylor had 2 breakpoints, 15-40.
Yeah.
I mean, match points essentially. And
Yeah, mini match points. Yeah, I went
yeah.
into the tie break though thinking there's 2 possibilities here. One is that having squandered the break points that he had in that third set, I'm gonna say 6 maybe break points that Zverev had in that third set. Having squandered those, I thought the momentum could be with Taylor, but I still thought that basically Zverev was the better player in that third set, and he should take that into the tie break, but he wasn't able to. He was soon down 4-1, never recovered. And that was that. And now, as Matthew is saying in the chat, there goes any chance of Sinner having a test this tournament. I guess he's right.
He is absolutely right. I mean, we've already seen Sinner Fritz. I know that we were all like hyping it up a bit, that it should be better than the US Open final was. I guess technically it was. There's going to be thinner margins here, sure. But we saw in that round robin match that it's rough. It's still like Taylor was still the one under pressure every single time from like 4 games all, maybe even 3 games all. So yeah, I don't really think that this is going to be any different. Of course, we also have Casper Ruud.
No. I was just thinking in my head, should we just do a Sinner Fritz final preview, and then if it never happens, we'll just cut it.
I mean, when it comes to Casper, I guess he's been upsetting the odds the entire event. Maybe I kind of like his chances even more than Fritz now, because at least we
Really?
haven't seen it yet. At least we haven't
Yeah.
seen it in motion, right? Like watching Sinner Fritz in the round robin stage at the US Open, I'm just like, yeah, I don't know how poorly Yannick will have to play, like how much that ATP Finals title at home would have to weigh in on him. Whereas here, I mean, yeah, Sinner Fritz, I've already seen it, and I don't think it's gonna happen. Whereas, yeah, like at least Sinner Ruud did something new.
Yeah, it's new in terms of this tournament, of course, but they have played a couple of times before, albeit not for 3 years. So I was going to say the new Yannick Sinner hasn't played it, but arguably the new Casper Ruud hasn't played it, because in 2021, Casper had never, been in the top 5 in the rankings, had never even probably appeared at the ATP Tour Finals. That was in Vienna. So yeah, and he certainly hadn't been in a Grand Slam final. Of course, since then he's been in 3. But Yannick's rise since then has been meteoric. But yes, the two, both have been on indoor hard, and both have gone the way of Sinner, and both were in straight sets. So
yeah, I mean, this is pretty relevant, as you said. Of course, the ATP Finals route clearly is much better than any other hardcore route, really. So yeah, I think that's kind of where we are. That at least there's a bit of an intrigue to it, although it doesn't seem like it could be a possible upset at all. And yes, Zverev Fritz, Nurlan, to your question, I think we pretty much started with that. I mean, it's just a completely different play style. He plays Zverev at his own game, and for now, the last 4 matches, Zverev is just not choosing to adapt in any way. Like he keeps trying, he keeps kind of just, he gets that hammer, he keeps just smacking it into that stone, but it's not working. It's like not close to crashing down. Of course, he was close to winning today. Sure, he had the break points. Fritz also did in the third set. Sure, it went to the tie break, but it just doesn't seem like he thinks of Fritz as sort of like a same category player as Sinner and Alcaraz. I don't know if he should, but he just doesn't think of him as somebody against whom he should be more active. He should be more aggressive. He should be trying to do something. And well, if it happens once, it's just a thing, right? It's just a one-time match. It's nothing. If it happens twice, you start thinking. If it happens 3 times, you still can kind of look for something. But now that we've had 4 matches again between them since July, and sure, at least twice, Zverev was close to winning. But now that we've had 4 matches, yeah, it's insane. I don't think the 6 million will count, Matthew, towards his season earnings. Although it still might be a record season earning because, well, obviously, even since Djokovic, like 2015 or 21, these bars have been raised by quite a lot. But I don't think the 6 million will count towards, his overall official ATP prize money. Like, if we're looking at it like this, then probably Federer has the highest ever with sponsorship deals and everything. Because, the Saudi exhibition is the same, right?
Yeah, right.
It's pretty much the same.
A couple of things I want to highlight from the stats is that Zverev getting 78% of his first serves in, which I think for many people on the tour is unbelievable, but actually that is kind of where he's at, isn't he? He's often getting like 80% plus. He's probably one of the best, if not the best. Is he in the top 50 in that stat? First serve in?
Zverev? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, there might be like Sebastian Baez or Francisco.
Yeah, I think it was Baez was his sort of main opponent for that. But
basically, one of the clay specialists, but obviously like not really comparable.
No, exactly.
If we're not talking about clay specialists who don't really have a strong or a risky first serve, it's definitely Zverev.
Exactly. I mean, he's basically got probably the best serve on tour, and he's getting it in 80% of the time. So actually, he was kind of normal in that respect. And winning 80% of those first serve points, again, is pretty normal. Second serve points won, however, he's down to 50%, whereas Taylor was down to 33. You are right to mention, of course, Taylor had his opportunities to break. In fact, before today, Zverev hadn't faced a break point. No, he faced 2 against Carlos, sorry. But he hadn't faced many this week, put it that way. And he faced a barrage of them today in comparison. And he did have his serve broken for the first time today, just once across the whole tournament. That's pretty unfortunate to lose your serve once in the entire tournament across 4 matches and you don't make the final. But there was one thing I thought was kind of funny was that total points won 97 each. So, yeah. So, of course, tennis being tennis, much as Billie Jean King might want to change the... Damien, it looks like you're wearing a hat, by the way. A very sort of eccentric hat. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, Baez is still first, but just a bit ahead of Zverev. But it's a huge leap then from Baez and Zverev to the next guys.
Yes, I can tell you actually that Taylor Fritz won in a 3rd set tiebreak. So,
what's gotten into Taylor Fritz lately? I mean, nothing, right? I mean, he's just the same old Taylor Fritz.
I think he's improved a little bit. I think he's improved a little bit. Yeah, I guess we are. But, he's made a Grand Slam final. He pushed Novak in Australia. He's made the finals here.
That's just like he's the best out of the rest, right? Like he's not actually better.
He's clearly the best of the rest now, whereas I don't think it was the case a year ago.
I mean, if the rest isn't like the top 5, then okay.
On anything but clay. Anyway.
In top 5, I'm also including Djokovic, by the way. Just when playing well.
So that's Djokovic, Zverev, Sinner, Alcaraz. Yeah.
And Medvedev when healthy as well.
Yeah, I guess, if everything's firing. But Medvedev's season has been not as good as Fritz's, in my opinion. That's for sure. All right, well, that brings us to a close. Dave thinks it's a mental thing anyway. There is a question here. Can Taylor permanently be better than Zverev and Medi and cement a spot in the top 3? My answer to that is probably no, unless Djokovic just falls off a cliff next year in a similar way. He kind of fell off a cliff this year, Olympics apart.
If he continues to dominate this matchup, then that kind of gives him a fighting chance. I don't think quality-wise he's quite there. Like he shouldn't really be getting better results than them for the most part when they're healthy.
I not Zverev anyway.
But when you have something like, I don't know, Rublev in the past, like that used to be his main issue actually, that he was losing to Zverev and Medvedev all the time, to his peers. And okay, maybe he's also like a slightly weaker player than them. But like, yeah, if Fritz is able to maybe turn this head-to-head into something permanent, then yeah, actually, then sure. There was something else he said, like Medvedev's season much worse than Fritz. It's the same pretty much.
Maybe it's expectation.
Only really because I mean, or recency bias because you're forgetting about Australia.
Yeah, I am forgetting about Australia. Yeah.
Yeah. So they
All right.
both had one final. I think Taylor hasn't had a 1,000 final, or has he?
Don't think he made a
Medvedev
final.
has. Of course, Taylor won titles actually, and he's also
Yeah,
to
that's
the
the thing.
final.
He did win titles.
So yeah, I mean it's
And
it's
maybe even
debatable.
making the
The first
final
half of the
here.
year basically the first half of the year, of course, was much better for Daniel, but
Medvedev.
after that things have evened out definitely, and now maybe even Taylor has the slight edge, considering this event especially.
So, for those of you looking forward to an amazing final, go Casper Ruud.
Would that make it for an amazing? Would that make for an amazing final?
I don't know if it'd be. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't amazing, but I'd love to see the Casper Ruud and Fritz slugging it out in a third set.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the ATP Finals this year was a bit doomed from the start.
Yeah.
And I can probably, with a lot of certainty right now, say that I don't think I'll watch the final tomorrow. I don't see anything interesting about either
If
matchup.
it's
I think
I
there's going to
won't
be
tune in
more.
until sort of third set if it goes that way.
But there's going to be more that excites me at the same time. Either one of the Challenger finals in North America, South America, or what am I forgetting about? Oh yeah, there are two in North America this week. That's why I was confused. Or maybe I will still be here on the courts. Actually, I don't know. But well, Zverev was the best in his group, but he loses to Fritz, so we might as well have two players from the Ilya Anastasia group in the final.
Yeah, might well do. All right, cool. That brings us to an end. This sort of semi-spontaneous, impromptu episode. We might do more of these in the future, particularly if we don't do a watch-along for a particular match of intrigue, and especially if it goes to like a third-set tiebreak. I think it's not a bad idea. Might even do some of these during the Australian Open as well, especially if the hour suits. But for those of you who've tuned in, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Hello, United Road. Do check out the United Road podcast. It's generally not in English. So if you are, I think Hindi, am I right? But tell me if I'm wrong. One of the Indian languages anyway, it's published in. But I think he does do occasionally English speaking content. But do check that out. And that is cool. But yes, like, subscribe, all that jazz. We're going to be at 12,000 subscribers quite soon. I'm optimistic it'll be before the end of the year. Damien is less optimistic.
As
but we've had
usual.
Yeah. Right. I'm going to press the button that's going to tell you to do all that again anyway. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.